This is Valley News Live at 10.
Snow has been rolling through the valley all weekend, and it's causing some trouble. The North Dakota Department of Transportation has issued a no travel advisory for eastern portions of the state, including Fargo, Grand Forks, Pembina, and surrounding areas. And DOT says the alert is due to zero visibility and icy hazardous conditions on state roads. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I-29 from South Dakota up to the Canadian border, and most recently North Dakota Highway 13 from I-29 to Wahpeton is now shut down until further notice due to blizzard-like conditions. Valley News Team's Alex Larson is out there braving the cold. And Alex, what can you tell us so far?
Hey Nishay, I'm here at the interstate closure on I-29 on 19th Ave. As you can see, it is windy. My tripod has been blowing over. The wind has been blowing from all directions. I've seen a lot of snow plows out and a lot of cars with their hazards on. It's been almost no visibility at this point. On my way up here, it was pretty slippery and I wasn't able to see for a little bit of the way. So I'm thinking it's gonna be a little bit worse on the way back. But we will keep you updated with the latest. Reporting live, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
All right, thank you so much, Alex. Please be safe out there. And since the snow is the big story of the evening, let's go right over to Summer with more on our forecast. Summer.
Thanks so much, Nishay. And last year we didn't have any road closures because we had such a mild winter. Well, now we have the first one of the season. Again, I-29 from the the South Dakota border to the Canadian border, north and southbound, and then Highway 13 from I-29 to Wahpeton. This is why. This is the visibility along I-29 in Grand Forks, and it's very, very near zero. Here's the map showing the latest travel conditions. The areas dotted in red and yellow, that indicates no travel advised. Roads are very tricky out there, but I do expect them to gradually improve by morning, so your morning commute won't quite be as bad. Minnesota roads either completely or partially covered in snow. Roads are still open in Minnesota. Now, blizzard warning has been extended until 3 a.m. and has been extended farther south. We're expecting the winds to continue to whip for several more hours here tonight, and that winter storm warning also now continuing until 3 a.m. Behind it, a wind chill advisory because it's going to be bitterly cold for your Monday morning. Visibilities are still under a mile in many locations across our entire region, and take a look at these winds. We've had gusts up to 50 miles per hour, but most recently to 43 miles per hour in Grand Forks, 46 miles per hour in the Fargo area, 43 mile per hour gusts out of the north in Fergus Falls. Coming up, I will let you know when the wind is expected to diminish and just how cold it's going to be for your Monday.
I guess it's payback for the mild winter we had last year, huh?
I guess so.
All right, well, we'll deal with it. Thank you so much, Summer. And more than 1,500 Grand Forks County residents were without power earlier this evening, according to the NODAC Electric Cooperative outage. That number has now dropped to about 500 customers. Also, we have been receiving reports that some residents in Moorhead are also without power. At this time, there's no word on when power will be restored fully for either areas. And many school delays are already coming in. The districts on your screen will be opening tomorrow, 2 hours late. For a full list of school delays or closings, visit your VNL News app and click on the Current Closings tab. A semi-trailer was seen blocking the lanes of I-94 East near Dilworth. The incident happened around 4:30 p.m. this evening. It also backed up traffic in those eastbound lanes. Currently, it's unclear if there have been any injuries. A semi hauling coal overturned last night near Drayton. The accident took place at the intersection of 79th Street and 158th Avenue Northeast. Authorities say the driver took a wrong turn while getting off Highway 66. The driver then attempted to make a left turn to go back east on the highway when it rolled into a ditch. Drayton Fire Department says the driver of the semi was not harmed in the accident. Yesterday, rescue crews saved a man after falling through the ice in the Red River. It's now prompting talks over keeping yourself safe while around local rivers, retention ponds, and lakes. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling has more on what you should do if you're ever in this kind of situation.
Our whole job focuses on rescuing people, and that's our number one priority, is the safety of those that we serve.
With the recent cold water rescue on the Red River, it is a quick reminder to be safe on and near the rivers, retention ponds, and lakes.
The one thing to remember with ice is there's no such thing as safe ice.
Fargo Fire Battalion Chief Joe Manchin says that the water and ice rescue has evolved over the years, giving them better tools to help those in need. Every
Fire station in Fargo is equipped for ice rescue. Every engine carries ice rescue suits, as do the truck companies. When we get that call, we immediately start suiting up a person, and on arrival, we're able to get out of the truck and immediately effect that rescue.
According to the Minnesota Sea Grant, the longer someone stays in cold water, the more dangerous it becomes. Manchin says to do this when it comes to cold water survival, if you see someone fall in.
Your first thought should be, one, summon help. Get on the phone, call 911, and get somebody coming to help you. Your next way of effecting that rescue is to throw something to the victim, whether you can throw a rope, push a ladder out, a tree branch, something to keep you away from that hole and preferably off the ice.
In the end, it's a cautionary tale to stay safe near the ice.
If you're on the ice, you should always have something to help you get out of the water should you fall in.
In Fargo, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
Now, it's still unclear on the man's condition who fell in the ice yesterday, but Fargo Fire is encouraging people to stay off the ice, especially this early into the winter season. Gilead, the maker of remdesivir, the first antiviral approved to treat COVID-19, is announcing a safety recall. In a statement Friday, the company reports that 2 lots of its COVID-19 drug may be contaminated with glass particles. While there have been no adverse events reported so far, in theory, the particles could block blood vessels, causing stroke and even death. While the Delta variant is fueling the vast majority of new coronavirus cases in the U.S., health officials say they've detected the new Omicron variant in more than a dozen states. And because of that new strain, the U.S. is changing the rules for entering the country beginning tomorrow. Cole Higgins reports.
Omicron is in the U.S. with cases of the coronavirus variant identified in at least 17 states.
And we're following them closely, and we are every day hearing about more and more probable cases, so that number is likely to rise.
Prompting U.S. officials to once again tighten air travel regulations. All inbound international travelers must test negative for COVID-19 within 1 day of departure for the U.S. starting Monday. The new order taking hold for all flights taking off after 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. The new rule applies to all passengers 2 years or older, but there's no requirement for post-arrival testing or quarantine. The U.S. still restricting entry to travelers from South Africa and 7 other African nations. President Biden's chief medical advisor, Dr. Anthony Fauci, says the U.S. was in the dark about Omicron when that decision was made. Some South Africans say the travel ban is unfair.
We don't think it's fair because the way in which it's been imposed is quite uneven, and a lot of the responses in the last few days really just smacks of a very knee-jerk way of dealing with this pandemic. It goes against the solidarity that was promised to us at the beginning of this pandemic.
Fauci says the administration hopes to be able to lift the ban within a, quote, reasonable period of time.
I mean, we all feel very badly about the hardship that might have put upon not only South Africa, but the other African countries. And for that reason, in real time, literally on a daily basis, we're reevaluating that policy.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was urging a surge of free at-home tests to stop the spread of COVID-19's Omicron variant. Schumer said the key to controlling it centers around the at-home tests now for sale across the country. Schumer praised President Biden for prepping a plan to be released on January 15th that will have insurance companies reimburse for the cost of the test. But he said, while we wait, send a surge of rapid at-home tests.
Let's get them out quickly, because it'll cost a lot less to get people tested now and stop Omicron in its tracks than it will be to delay and let it spread and spread and spread before we can really get a handle on it.
Schumer believes people are more likely to get tested if the at-home tests become easily available with no cost and no fine print. A visitation was held in Michigan yesterday for one of the students killed at Oxford High School on Tuesday. Family members and friends were able to pay their respects to 17-year-old Madison Baldwin. Baldwin was killed when one of her peers, Ethan Crumbly, opened fire at the school. She was a senior and was set to graduate at the end of the school year. And today, the Detroit Lions paid homage to the victims of the Oxford High School shooting. The team wore the letter O on their helmets during their matchup with the Minnesota Vikings, paying tribute to the 4 people killed in that shooting. Former Senator and Republican presidential nominee Bob Dole has died. Dole's American journey took him from the plains of Kansas to World War II and all the way to Capitol Hill, where he became one of the most powerful politicians of the 20th century. His wife, Elizabeth Dole, posted the announcement today on Twitter. Back in February, Dole announced that he'd been diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi ordered the flags at the U.S. Capitol to be flown at half-staff due to the passing of the former senator. Also, Governor Doug Burgum is ordering U.S. and state flags be flown at half-staff. Bob Dole was 98 years old. Later on Valley News Live at 10, a local Jewish center shares the meaning of celebrating Hanukkah.
And the winds will remain strong through the overnight hours, gradually decreasing, but still on the breezy side by tomorrow morning. Grand Forks, very same thing, and then we turn cold. Coming up, I'll have your hour-by-hour details and what the wind chills will be when you wake up, coming up right after the break.